My brother from another mother, you are truly a gift from the universe, and a friend that became family, and a bond that will last forever. Love you, bro. I can't get this thing off.
Four, three, two, one. Audio Jungle.
In the heart of ancient Egypt, the powerful black pharaoh Amun-Ra discovers his beloved queen's affair with the lion god, Sekhmet. The queen bears the lion god's child and is rescued and raised by her loyal warrior brother Rahim. The son of the queen and the lion god, Khepri, grows and trains under Rahim's guidance, uncovering the dark secret of his lineage. Discovering Khepri is still alive angers Amun-Ra, who then commands his wizard Anububus to curse the queen's loyal warrior brother, Rahim, turning him into a ferocious lion, forever bound to kill Khepri. In a moment of survival, Khepri subdues Rahim, then seeks justice by defeating the wizard, avenging his uncle Rahim. With the wizard dead and their bond strengthened, they vow to protect the kingdom. Centuries later, Leonard Holyfield, a modern-day descendant of Khepri, carries the legacy of love, strength, and courage passed down through time. Discovering Khepri is still alive angers Amun-Ra, who then commands his wizard Anububus to curse the queen's loyal warrior brother, Rahim, turning him into a ferocious lion, forever bound to King Khepri. Survival, Khepri subdues Rahim, then seeks justice by defeating the wizard, avenging his uncle Rahim. With the wizard dead and their bond strengthened, they vow to protect Leonard Holyfield, a modern-day descendant of King
Yeah, these motherfuckers work.
carries the legacy of love, strength, and courage passed down through time.
Jax.
Audio Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
August 16, 2003, Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore faced a crowd of 10,000 during the Restore America rally on the steps of the state capitol. As he spoke these words, a tall man in dark shades and a black suit stood behind him. He is Leonard Cleveland Holyfield, the chief's loyal bodyguard, prepared to put his life in the path of any desperate assassin. Holyfield is a teacher, a black belt martial artist, a soldier, a father, and a son. What drives Holyfield to achievement? The story of this amazing man reveals a powerful legacy instilled early in life. A story of a hyperactive little boy who grew up to become a legend in the world of martial arts. A legend and a legacy. Secured, Leonard was given the option of heading either the hand-to-hand combat program at Fort Benning, Georgia, or the military police school at Fort McClelland, Alabama. He chose the military police. Finding that the school lacked in self-defense skills, Leonard immediately began training his students in advanced, unarmed self-defense tactics. His reputation quickly spread through the military police community, as Army commanders nationwide lobbied to have the legendary Leonard Holyfield instruct their units.
They called me, the phone was ringing, and Leonard, did you see Leonard on the TV and that he captured this prisoner of war? And I kept wondering, oh, why would he do that? Why would he run out and why would Leonard do this thing? Leonard have always amazed me. Even today, he amazes me. I ask him today, Leonard, how did this happen? And he goes, Mom, only by the grace of God. Because, you know, a lot of things just unexplainable.
It was very interesting. I took over a battalion at Fort Bragg, and Dr. Holyfield was the battalion nuclear, biological, and chemical officer. One of the first things I was surprised to learn was that he was the first American to capture an Iraqi prisoner of war. Very big, powerful man, but yet one of the best gentlemen I've ever run across. I think he called it the fist of iron, where he would break 12 or 13 large bricks that were set on fire. And we were having a battalion organization day when all the families would come out. And he was going to do that as a demonstration for the battalion. And there were probably a couple hundred people there. And then he got everything set up, and I'm looking at these bricks, and he has lighter fluid that he's going to light the thing on fire with, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, he's going to break his hand, and my commander is going to come back and be angry at me for allowing him to do this. And I said, well, he hasn't let me down yet. Nobody believed he could do it, and he made it look easy. Just incredible, but that was just the type of guy he is. He was very proud to be an American and a soldier. And it just kind of came across in the way that he dealt with people. And then he was also so disciplined, and his discipline set the example for other people. And it wasn't just physical discipline, but it was the mental discipline of understanding what your job was, knowing it better than anybody else, and then being able to execute. Tireless worker. I mean, he just had character, and it's hard to find people with that level of character. And that's what was impressive about Dr. Holifield.
By the authority vested in me by the Constitution of the State of Alabama, I'm pleased to present this monument depicting the moral foundation of our law and hereby authorize it to be placed in the rotunda of the Alabama Judicial Building. Without an acknowledgement of God, I cannot do my duty. I must acknowledge God. Acknowledging God as the source, a moral source of our law.
Finding no other viable alternatives, this court hereby orders that Roy S. Moore be removed from his position of Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Alabama. This court is now adjourned.
Here's a man who could have remained Chief Justice of Alabama. There's no question about that, had he not taken the stand that he did.
God's given a great many things to Roy Moore, but one of the special things he's given him is the friendship of Dr. Leonard Holyfield. You don't want to mess with Leonard Holyfield.
Believe me, y'all might want to see the fight between he and I, but I wouldn't. I was walking out of a church thing the other day where they had about 3,000 pastors, and I'd finished, they were standing up, and I was leaving, and just before I got the door, I thought I'd do this thing about turning around and, you know, waving to the crowd, and I turned around and I hit Leonard right upside the head and his glasses went like this, and I said, I'm dead. I met Leonard several years ago when I went into the YMCA, and he was teaching a karate class to young children.
And I see this gentleman in a white t-shirt and some gym trunks, white socks, some tennis shoes. And he looks at me and he says, hey, you're a karate instructor? I said, yes, sir. He says, well, I'm Roy Moore. And he says, you may have heard of me. You know, people call me the Ten Commandments judge.
When Pilate said, don't you know I could kill you? And Jesus said, don't you know you would have no authority, but that it was given from above? Didn't Jesus? You see, Jesus.
I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was from Steve. I just said, yes, sir. I didn't know who he was. And he says, well, tell me about your system. So I told him a little bit about Sykaron. He says, well, I've got 3 boys. And I'm interested in putting them into a good karate school. And of course, my school is Christian-based, so I think that really appealed to him.
Well, I developed a friendship with Leonard, but also a great respect for him and his ability, not only as a martial art teacher, but you know, just his service to his country in the Desert Storm, and you know, his ability to lead men. And perhaps one of the greatest qualities Leonard has is his dealing with children. One time I was in his studio, and he had a group of children who were advancing to the next stage of karate. And one of them was severely handicapped and could barely stand. And yet this boy had gone through a course and was taking the test. And one of the tests was supposedly when you take a blow to your chest and get knocked backwards. And I was watching as Leonard came to this boy and to see how he handled him, and he handled him perfectly because he did enough force to make the boy understand that he was in the course, and yet not enough to hurt him. And this had a great effect on this boy. I could see the pride in his face, and this is a young handicapped boy that didn't have a chance in a lot of sports and things, but he finally felt a degree of accomplishment.
Keep in mind, during the time that I'm working with his boys, I'm really getting to know Roy Moore. I'm getting to know Kayla. I'm getting to know their family. So we got very close. We established and formed a very close bond, very close friendship, which I think is what God had planned all along.
When I became Chief Justice in 2000, I needed somebody for security, and I asked Leonard to come with me to the Alabama Supreme Court, and he did. And he came with me to the Alabama Supreme Court as a security officer. And he became my executive security officer and was with me throughout the experience. And of course, we had a lot of occasion to have security, and it was greatly needed and appreciated.
When he asked me, it was right there on the spot. I accepted. Told him I'd be honored. And then shortly thereafter, his family relocated to Montgomery. All the mail that came to the Supreme Court for him, I screened. Of course, they would be screened at the post office, then it would get to us, the mailroom would screen it. It would get to me, I would screen it before it got put in his hand. One person at one time has sent in a letter to him on 52 sticky notes. And I had to spread these out and piece this thing together, decipher it, read it, retype the thing out, and then get it out to my personal friend of mine by the name of Barry Wilson, who's a handwriting analyst, and he was able to actually decipher this thing and say that, yeah, we're dealing with a nut.
For several years, Leonard and I traveled all over the country and doing various speaking engagements and teaching about the relationship between God and law and God and government.
I didn't know everything that it would entail. I found that out later. But it was something that I felt very comfortable about doing. And later on, I realized that this was my calling. I've known him for 10 years, so I've seen the personal side of him as well as the professional side. And he's as real as they come. He's just a down-to-earth, regular, average guy, but he's got very strong morals, very strong values. He's a man that says what he means what he says, and if he says he's going to do something, he does it. And then when I look back over my life, you stop and you take inventory over your life, and you look at all this training that you've had in martial arts and in the military and in executive protection and law enforcement, and all of that training was to prepare me for my current station in life, which is to protect Roy Moore, the former Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court. And it's just an unreal honor to be in this position to protect such a man.
Now, Dr. Holyfield is a very special man. He is ferociously loyal to the men that he loves, and he sticks with the Chief Justice like he's glued to him. And I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun to travel with Leonard Holyfield and with the Chief Justice. But if anybody out there ever has any funny ideas, let me warn them, don't even think about it. Leonard Holyfield is one of the most accomplished personal assistant, bodyguard, friend protectors a man could ever hope for.
I think that he commits himself to anything that he undertakes. His self-discipline is such that he's willing to pay any price to be successful. But what's unique about him is that although he has that type of discipline, he put his fellow soldiers first, he puts his family first, and I think that is an element of character that everybody just doesn't have, and that's the thing that strikes me most about him.
The only thing that I could say that would be lasting is how proud I am of him and his life and the direction that he's taken in life and his achievements in life. That is what any parent would just be very, very happy about and for.
As a child growing up, my father set a very great example for me. He was a great family man, still is. A lot that my father taught me, I'm teaching my son, and I just hope I can be half as good as dad to my son that my father was to me.
I would tell him, Leonard, you know, your dad worked hard and he had worked to get to where he is. Well, Leonard want it like right now, but to be like his dad.
And now, a word from our sponsors.